I used to think July was just unlucky for lawns. For years, I told people the same thing every fertilizer rep told me. Just water more, mow more, and it'll bounce back. That's what I said to a guy named Russell Kowalczyk in Topeka, Kansas back in 2018. Nice guy. Trusted me completely. He watered his lawn every single evening that July, mowed it short every weekend so it looked sharp for his daughter's graduation party. By August, half his backyard was dead. Not dormant. Dead. And here's the part that still bothers me. It wasn't the heat that killed Russell's lawn. It was me. It was the advice I gave him. Because everything I told him to do was exactly backwards from what university turf science actually said. Trust me on this one. July doesn't kill lawns. Bad habits kill lawns, and July just cashes the check. Here's what nobody selling you fertilizer wants you to understand. The damage doesn't start when your lawn turns brown. It starts 2, sometimes 3 weeks earlier, while everything still looks fine. By the time you see the brown patches, you're not looking at day 1 of a problem. You're looking at day 14. And the average homeowner spends somewhere around $400 to $600 repairing a summer-damaged lawn come fall. Sod patches, overseeding, extra fertilizer applications. Money that never needed to leave your pocket. So today I'm going to walk you through the 4 things your lawn actually needs in July. And I'm going to be straight with you about the mistakes almost everyone makes that turn a healthy lawn into a brown mess by August. Quick note before we start. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, July is peak heat stress. If you're in Australia or New Zealand, you're in winter right now, so mentally shift this to December or January. The science doesn't change, just the calendar. Mistake number 1, cutting your grass short. This is the single biggest mistake I see, and I made people make this mistake for years before I understood why it was wrong. Wrong. People cut their grass short in summer because it looks tidy and buys them an extra week before mowing again. Seems logical. It is quietly destroying your lawn. Here's the actual mechanism. When grass is cut short, sunlight hits bare soil directly instead of hitting grass blades. Researchers at Iowa State University's turfgrass program have measured soil surface temperatures running 30 to 40 degrees hotter than the surrounding air temperature when soil is exposed like this. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between soil at 85 degrees and soil at 125 degrees. At those temperatures, root tissue starts dying, not slowing down, dying. Once the roots go, weeds move in immediately, because crabgrass and spurge love hot, bare soil. It's literally their preferred germination environment. Within 2 weeks, you've got brown patches spreading and weeds filling the gaps. The fix costs you nothing. Raise your mower deck to 3 to 4 inches. Taller grass shades the soil, keeps root zone temperature down, and holds moisture where the roots actually live. And follow the 1/3 rule religiously. Never remove more than 1/3 of the blade length in a single mow. If your grass got away from you and it's 6 inches tall, do not scalp it back down to 2 inches to catch up. That shock alone can leave sections of lawn too damaged to recover until fall. Mistake number 2, watering a little bit every day. If you take exactly one thing from this video, take this one. Most people water their lawn for 10 or 15 minutes every single evening because it feels responsible. It feels like you're taking care of the lawn. Every single day you do that, you're making your lawn weaker. Here's why nobody explains this part. Light, frequent watering only wets the top inch or 2 of soil. Grass roots are opportunistic. They grow wherever the moisture is. If moisture only ever shows up near the surface, that's exactly where the roots stay. Shallow. Fragile. The moment you miss a day or a heat wave rolls through, those shallow roots dry out within hours, and the grass browns almost immediately. What the grass actually needs is deep, infrequent watering, one long soak, once or twice a week, enough to push moisture 6 inches or deeper into the soil profile. Turfgrass researchers at Texas A&M have documented that this single change trains root systems to grow downward, chasing that deeper moisture, which is exactly what gets a lawn through a heat wave without stress. Timing matters just as much as amount. Water between 5 and 9 in the morning. Nothing else works. Midday watering, half of it evaporates before it ever reaches the roots. Pure waste. Evening or nighttime watering leaves grass blades wet for 8 10, 12 hours straight, and that's the #1 condition fungal disease needs to take hold. Here's a free test a groundskeeper in Ames, Iowa named Walter Schubert taught me back in 2019. Push a plain screwdriver straight down into your lawn. Slides in easy? Soil's still moist, leave it alone. Takes real effort to push in? That's your signal. Water today. Deep and early. Mistake number 3. Fertilizing because the lawn looks pale. I get why this one feels wrong to skip. Your lawn looks tired, fertilizer is sitting right there in the garage, and it feels like the obvious fix. Fertilizing a heat-stressed lawn in July is one of the fastest ways to burn it beyond what the heat alone would ever do. Fertilizer's entire job is to push fast, new growth. Fast growth requires energy reserves, steady water, and cool temperatures to fuel it. In the middle of July, your grass has none of those 3 things available. So instead of green new growth, you get burned root tips, crispy leaf edges, and a plant that's now working overtime just trying to survive the fertilizer you gave it, on top of the heat it was already fighting. If your lawn is already showing stress, do not feed it heavily. Let it rest. Penn State's turfgrass extension program has been saying this for years and almost nobody listens. The correct window for real fertilizing is late summer or early fall, once the worst heat has broken. If you feel like you absolutely must apply something in July, a very light, summer-specific feed only. Only when the soil already has moisture, and never right before a forecasted dry spell. And stop chasing perfect dark green color during a heat wave. A lawn losing a shade of color in the peak of summer is often the grass protecting itself on purpose. That's not failure. That's the plant doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Mistake number 4. Missing the warning signs until it's too late. By the time your lawn is visibly brown, you're already 2 weeks behind the actual problem. But your grass tells you it's in trouble long before that, if you know what you're looking at. 4 signs, in order of how early they show up. Color shift first. Healthy grass is bright green. Stressed grass shifts to a dull gray-blue, almost purple in places. This is the earliest signal and almost everyone misses it. Footprints that don't spring back. Walk across the lawn, look behind you. Healthy grass bounces back within seconds. Dehydrated grass stays pressed flat. Folded blades. Grass under stress literally folds its blades lengthwise to cut down sun exposure. If your lawn suddenly looks thinner without any grass actually missing, this is why. And cracking at the edges. Check where your lawn meets a driveway, sidewalk, or garden bed. Soil pulling away or visibly cracking means it's drying out fast, right now. Catch any of these early, and one proper deep watering usually fixes it within a few days. Miss all 4, and the lawn drops into full dormancy. One free bonus tip: stop bagging your clippings in July. Leave them on the lawn every single time you mow. Fresh clippings act as a light natural mulch. They shade soil, hold moisture in, and break down to quietly feed the roots. Free protection, free nutrition, and less yard waste for you to haul off. The only rule: clippings need to be short and spread evenly. If the grass got long and clippings are clumping into thick mats, bag that one mow, or go back over it a few days later to break the clumps up. What if your lawn is already brown right now? Don't panic, and definitely don't rip it out. Most established lawns are not dead, they're dormant. Dormancy is the grass plant's own survival strategy, shutting down visible growth to protect the root crown until conditions improve. Give it a light watering, 15 to 20 minutes, once a week. Just enough to keep the roots alive, not enough to force green growth. Once temperatures drop later in the season, most lawns recover completely on their own. Do not try to force a dormant lawn back to life in the middle of July. It will not work, and you risk stressing it further. Repair properly in fall. That's when overseeding, aeration, and fertilizer actually do their job, because the grass is actively growing again instead of fighting to survive. Raise your mowing height to 3 to 4 inches. Water deep, once or twice a week, early morning only. Hold off on strong fertilizer until the heat breaks. Watch for the 4 warning signs: color shift, flat footprints, folded blades, cracked soil edges. Leave your clippings on the lawn. And if it's already dormant, keep it alive and let fall do the repair work. Most lawns don't fail because of one brutal hot day. They fail from small mistakes repeated week after week, all summer long. If this saved you from a mistake you were already making, hit like and subscribe. I put these out every week. And if your lawn's fighting something I haven't covered here, dry edges, yellow patches, footprints that won't bounce back, or full brownout, drop it in the comments. Might be exactly what I cover next.